My daughter's friend moved in with us, and it's been chaos ever since.
That is what having a roommate is like.
And this comes from the r/OKstorytime subreddit. This happened a few years ago, and some of it's a bit hazy, but it's a wild story. Some backstory: my husband, male 45, and I, female 35, weren't married yet, but living together. He has 4 kids total at the time. 2 lived with him. I have 2 fur babies, dogs, and my daughter, female 20, has a fur baby, cat. My son, male 22, is moving out, and my daughter still lives at home. By the way, this comes from Icy Temporary 6693, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
And I'm Riley.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. My daughter's friend, let's call her Lily, female 21, is having issues at home. My daughter is telling us about it, and I talk with my husband. He's known Lily for a while. Some of what she said about home life is true. Kids shouldn't have to go through anything that causes trauma. I suggest letting Lily move in with us to get her away from it and help guide her through the transition. Everyone agrees. Great idea. Lily doesn't give my daughter an answer right away. My son has been moved out for a month, and I'm thinking, cool, we have an extra room. And then about 6 weeks later, my daughter says Lily will be here in 2 weeks. My stomach fell out of my body. I should have said something then, but I didn't. It felt like my world was about to change. Lily moves in, gets a job within a month, and we discussed my daughter and Lily helping with financial contribution to the household. $150 a month each. They're both over 18 and both have full-time jobs. Conveniently, we all work at the same place except my husband. He works overnights at a manufacturing plant. Lily has her driver's license, but not a car yet. And if I didn't have any plans on my day off, I'd let Lily and my daughter take my car. Everything seems to be going good for the first month or so, but doesn't it always go good in the beginning? After the I'm wonderful phase, things started getting weird. We'd all get off work at the same time, but for whatever reason, the girls thought they needed to change out of work clothes into street clothes at work in the employee bathroom. I wanted to go home, so I'd be sitting there waiting in my car 10 to 15 minutes for them to come out. In that time, we could have been home. After a couple of weeks, I asked that they please wait till we get home to change. I said it nastier than intended. I had a bad day at work and was frustrated. Then I noticed my coffee creamer and coffee are being used faster. That's fine. Doesn't bother me. Until the last of it is used and I'm not told so I can buy more. So I talked to the girls about it. If you use the last of it, please say so. Then it's not just the coffee or creamer, it's other items in the fridge too. I don't know how many mornings I didn't have breakfast. I'd sometimes cry when I saw there weren't any eggs or bread. Then I snapped. I was buying more and more creamer, coffee, eggs, and we were still going through it so fast. My daughter wanted to be nice and make Lily coffee. She's filling the filter completely full of grounds. That's a cup of grounds for a 24-ounce tumbler. I ask her why. She tells me Lily likes her coffee strong. I take her to the coffee pot and show her there's a regular and strong brew. Adding more grounds doesn't make it stronger. Eventually, this all evolves to, I'm not making dinner anymore because I'm tired of wasting my time and money. It took months to reach this point. Whatever I made, they wouldn't eat. They'd order DoorDash, Uber Eats, or takeout. So I made food for my husband and me. That was it. My daughter and Lily are buying their own food. That includes coffee and creamer. Yeah, that seemed like that was the solution. That seems like a pretty easy solution though.
I trust OP that like this was more frustrating to actually live in, but it is kind of funny to have the story be like, my daughter's friend moved in and it was absolute chaos, and then you get into it and it's like eggs are going faster and they get Uber Eats and they change in the bathroom. I'm like, again, all annoying stuff, but I'm sort of waiting for the chaos.
During all of this, I did try and bond with Lily like a friendship. She kept her distance because she didn't know me and was intimidated. Still, I invited her to everything we did. She'd decline. Sometimes when I had the day off and the girls had to go to work, they'd come home and go straight to one of their bedrooms. Then I'd hear sobbing. Not crying, sobbing. It was terrifying at first. Both girls had really bad anxiety, and the smallest thing would set them off. I told my husband he had a month to help my daughter find some help. He didn't, so I did. Got my daughter in touch with a place and she began counseling. At this point, she was in counseling for about 10 months and began to handle her mental stress in healthier ways. We all strongly suggested to Lily she begin counseling or therapy for herself. She kept pushing it off and never went. Whenever I'd come home from work and they'd be home all day, sometimes I'd come home to them both sobbing. I'd check on them and sometimes the answer I got would be, we just really needed a session. Eventually, I stopped checking on them. There comes a day where the girls had asked to use my car the next morning. Sure Sure, I don't work. Keys are on the table. Afternoon comes around and they still haven't left. My husband is relaxing before work and I decide to go to the store real quick. When I get back, he's getting dressed and the girls are waiting in the living room. I ask what's going on. He tells me after I left, my daughter went upstairs to tell Lily I had left with my car. Lily asks to take his car. He just got that car, Adventure Pack RAV4. He says no. Lily gets upset and says they have to go somewhere. He tells her I'll be back soon. Lily panics and says she has to leave now. I get back before he's even finished dressing, and I get mad when he tells me all that. I let the girls take my car and say we can talk about this when you get back. Before this, there were hints that Lily felt like my car was her car. He goes to work and girls get back and we talk. It all comes down to me telling Lily she had all morning and she didn't use my car like she said she would. So I go somewhere and that's when you finally want to use my car? I told her I felt like she felt entitled to my car. She denied it. So I reminded her it is my car. She has access to my car because I allow her to, but that doesn't mean it's hers to use at her convenience. Things with Lily just kept getting worse and worse. I actually forgot my husband lived with us. I felt alone. That's not a great situation.
Again, not a good situation. I'm sure it was not fun to live through. I did love the image that popped into my head is her going into the kitchen at like 2 a.m. and he has milk. Oh,
Jesus.
Sorry.
I forgot you lived here.
I thought it was just
me and Lily.
2 terrible girls and 3 animals.
We had been talking about moving for a while, and when Lily moved in, we told her we'd be moving the following year. So about 6 months through the lease, I began looking at places. I talked to my husband, tell him how I'm feeling alone and unwelcome in my own house. Lily and I were fighting a lot. After every fight, she'd ask if I hated her. I always said no because I didn't. She needed help that I couldn't provide and help she didn't want to get. Can't help someone that doesn't want to help themselves, though. I tell him I couldn't live with her anymore, that if he wanted to take Lily with us during the move, I'd find my own apartment. My own inner peace was more important to me than Lily was. He told me he felt the same about Lily and didn't want to bring her with us. Neither one of us wanted to tell her we didn't want her moving with us, and Lily was also trying to convince my daughter to move out with her. I discouraged that. I was beginning to realize Lily was a leech. My daughter always had to be with her, do as she said. Lily was isolating my daughter, and I didn't like it. Even friendships can turn harmful. So we had a hard conversation together. We talked to Lily about her behavior and how we weren't okay with it. We also told her that if nothing changes, we do not want her to move with us. The conversation did not go well. She thinks we hate her. She's crying. My husband's crying. My daughter's crying. I'm stoic as F. Still, I don't hate her. I just didn't feel anything for her anymore. Things got worse after that. I found a place for us and got so excited, I convinced my husband to sign the lease without him having seen the property. Lily doesn't know where it is. This was in December. And we signed the lease on the new place, and we still had the lease with Lily until May at the old place. We decided we could pay both leases. Lily and my daughter were going to stay at the old place together while my husband and I lived in the new place alone. The day after Christmas, everything explodes again. This was the we're done explosion. Lily and I were arguing, and my daughter opened up and told us how she felt about Lily, but wasn't sure how to end it. So we kept Lily away from the new place. Later that night, my husband and I told Lily she wasn't coming with us. She had thought things blew over and she was fine to come with us. I was firm and said absolutely not. She has some kind of dissociation with the conversation, kept repeating how she needed to go to the gym. We kept steering the conversation towards, no, you're not coming with us. We've had enough of this behavior. She kept saying, can we talk about this later? I need to go to the gym. She leaves and my daughter goes with her. My husband has a bad feeling the entire time. We go get some fast food, and as soon as we get back, my phone rings. I've always told the kids I don't care where you are or what time it is. If you are unsafe and you don't want to be there anymore, call me. I will be there, no questions asked. The phone rings, and it's my daughter. I answer. She's crying. We get back in the car and stay on the phone with her the entire time. She's in the gym bathroom because Lily is taking her anger out on her. Lily is putting the blame of the fallout on my daughter. We get to the gym. My husband goes inside to get her. We get back to the house, set my daughter up in our room, favorite pillow, here's the dogs, remote, lock the door. We're gonna smash her burgers, and then we're packing some stuff to leave. It's one thing to fight with me. It's another to go after my daughter. I was cold, I was calm, I was dangerous. I don't remember how long we were in my daughter's room packing when Lily gets back. She goes straight to the bedroom door and opens it. not very far because I was sitting in front of the door. Lily says, "Oh!" She wasn't expecting that. She begins crying about how her best friend left her at the gym and she doesn't know why. What's going on? My husband keeps responding to her. And after a minute or two, I just lean back and slowly shut the door on her. I tell him not to respond anymore because that's what she wants. So there we are, shut in my daughter's room, packing her stuff, while Lily is crying about how she doesn't know what's going on and is scared. She says, "I brought Abby. Please talk to me. What's happening? I brought Abby." My daughter stops, gets a panicked look on her face, and begins to repeat, "She brought Abby." I get her focused on me and say, "Nope. Focus. Is this keep or throw away?" We continue packing. Lily eventually goes away to her room with Abby. We load up my husband's car with my daughter, her stuff, and all 3 fur babies, and we head to the new house. We unpack at the new house, go back for our stuff, and spend the night at the new place. No electric or heat yet, but we were done with Lily. The next day, my husband, my son, and I go back to the house with the U-Haul and pack up everything that is ours. Lily's car was in the driveway. She had a car this whole time?
Yeah, I guess now she does.
So we thought she was home sleeping. We did it all quietly. We left my daughter at home because we didn't want Lily to have an opportunity to get her alone again. We move everything out, leaving Lily alone in the old house. I text Lily she has until the end of January to move out. We didn't tell her where we were so she couldn't bother us, and she doesn't respond. By the way, you should respond to us by listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. Lily kept trying to guilt my daughter into talking to her again, and Abby did the same. We let my daughter make up her own mind. She decided to not talk to Lily anymore and made new socials without Lily as a friend. I was proud of her for that. It was years till we saw Lily again at a big box store, and I wanted to talk to her and see how she's doing, but I didn't, and I won't. My intention wasn't ever to hurt her, but I couldn't do it anymore for myself, and then she took her anger out on my daughter. I was done. I know I wasn't perfect in all of it, and I made mistakes. I still think about Lily and wonder how we could have done better for her. But you can't help anyone who can't help themselves. My daughter learned some valuable life lessons. She began being more assertive about her personal feelings and boundaries. She's grown so much and is doing well. I couldn't be prouder. And that's the end of that story. And you know what? It seems like everything's doing a lot better.
Yeah, I honestly think OP probably did do. It sounds like she did her best.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. I think it's not always, I think OP went into this wanting to help a young girl, and this girl turned out to be a lot more work than OP was able to handle. And that's, that sometimes happens.
My nephew turned my home into a free hotel, and I've had enough.
What is this? Hotel for dogs?
My nephew, 20 male, who I've dearly loved forever, brought his new girlfriend, 18 female, to meet us and asked if they could stay over. I said, sure. We have 2 very comfy sofas, and came down the next morning to find them both entwined on the one sofa.
Whoa, pretty risque.
Pretty risque. This does come from user diligentad3864. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to r/OKstorytime subreddit. I'm Riley.
I'm Sophia.
And we're here to give good advice in a goofy manner. But we don't have all the answers. We're not omniscient. So we only know what we would do. And let us know what you would do in those sweet, sweet comments. This wouldn't bother most people, but we're hardcore Christians and don't believe spicy sleep before marriage is a good idea, and something we are trying to instill in our own children, ages 14, 12, 9, and 6. Still, they're not Christian, so we chose to ignore it and explain to our kids that we can't enforce our beliefs on others. This happens a few times over the next fortnight. Nephew then asked if I get a caravan, could I park it on your drive so we can live there?
Whoa, this is a big step up.
I'm also so curious, entwined is such a fascinating verb, because I'm like, well, where do we?
I think they were just cuddling.
That's kind of my vibe as well. I mean, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Marriage.
I was not on that couch.
Yeah,
but
we don't know how they were entwined.
Oh, have you now?
That's interesting.
Oh, have you now?
That's interesting. I thought this was kind of a one-night thing.
Yeah. I also love I've been thinking about moving in.
I've been thinking about moving in. I hope that you're thinking about
the same thing.
That too.
Nephew says, yeah, it makes sense. I'm here all the time anyways. Now they're both here most nights, no longer bothering to ask. One day, I come home from food shopping at 5 p.m. to find them practically dry humping on the sofa, her underneath, legs wrapped around him, sucking on his neck while he's smooching on hers. My 4 kids are in the room on various screens and playing with toys.
I'm sorry, that's crazy for them to be like,
how old are these kids too?
They're like 4, 9, and 12.
14,
or
12,
14.
9, and 6.
Okay, still.
Oi, can we stop with the overtly spicy related displays in front of my kids, please? Nephew lifts his head and says, what? We're cuddling. I retort, yeah, horizontally. They stare at each other deadpan like I'm being unreasonable. I turn into a comedian. I barely kiss hubby in front of our kids, so this horizontal canoodling is a bit much, waving my hands dramatically and laughing. They both get up and sit side by side holding hands. I later chat with them and explain our values and state that we're trying to raise our kids with what we believe is right. We don't particularly want to store up future problems with our own kids when they're older, asking why their own girlfriends, boyfriends can't stay when we let nephew and girlfriend. To give credit, they take this on board. However, we now come down most mornings to the sofa cushions all on the floor where they've made themselves a double bed. Girlfriend doesn't work, so she's here constantly, while nephew leaves for work at 6 a.m. and gets back around 5 p.m. Girlfriend likes to binge series on Netflix, munching on crisps. They are British.
They're British.
They're British.
They're British.
Everything she watches is 15 rated while my kids are in the living room. They know we don't swear, and we've asked them often to curb the very heavy language that they use. Nephew is a hothead like his dad, and his favorite word is the F word since he hit 18. Nephew then tells me that his dad has asked him to move his stuff out since he hasn't paid him rent the whole time he's been staying most nights at mine. Nephew drives a pretty fast car, no seatbelt because, quote, they're uncomfortable. And nephew is trying to break his family's record of 125 miles per hour. His car has lowered springs and he realizes the wheels are being eaten into by the rims, but can't afford to fix it just yet. He borrows our old banger to get to work. 2 weeks later, nephew's telling me he's going to give me some money towards food while he's here. After another 2 weeks, he offers me 50. He already owed me 30. So I say, with the $30 you owe me, is that 80 pounds then? His face drops, but he rallies quickly and says, yeah, sure. Bearing in mind, I'm on disability, we have 4 kids, and my husband earns just over minimum wage. So we're not that well off and pretty much live hand to mouth. I order food in bulk and order treats and things on Amazon, subscribe, and save to save money where we can. I buy cans of soda to save money when we go to the cinema. I also buy booze cheaply at Aldi ahead of when I need it. Nephew likes to treat himself with these by taking first, then asking, you don't mind if I... Well, yes, actually, I do now, where it wasn't so much a problem when you were only visiting. I've also started saying, buy your own munch, whenever my kids are eating sweets or crisps, or whenever we're sharing something, and he pipes up with, ooh, what you got? This happens a lot. I've also begun to state, dude, you eat way more than I do. And there's 6 of us to live off that money. I also noticed empty adult soda bottles in the car, including the driver's door. Ooh. And pull him up on that, saying I'm not impressed and it's pretty disrespectful to borrow my car and drink and drive. He gets sheepish and apologizes. Then nephew calls one day to ask what we need to keep from the car he's borrowed, since it's being towed by the police who've caught him speeding in the car with no insurance. There's me thinking he's switched his insurance over to our car since he was warned we had no insurance on it as we weren't driving it currently. It was on our drive tax though. Nope. He tried to blag that he thought he was covered under a third party, but obviously they weren't born yesterday. Our car gets towed. That sucks. And he says, sorry, it's going to cost you 190 pounds to get it back out. And that increases to 20 pounds per day. So you'll need to do it soon. Thankfully, I was able to remind him that I'd said to him when he first borrowed it, you get caught doing anything illegal in it, it's on you, mate. And his face fell. We borrowed the 190 pounds and got the car back. I also bought the spark plug that had been damaged from a new oil leak, which he fitted and got it back on the road. We had to pay for a new insurance contract on this car to be able to get the police to release it. Last week, our own car had to be towed to the garage when the brakes failed. I call him to ask what time he's back and say, gonna need our car back. It's in the garage and I need to get a food shop done. He replies, well, that's not going to work given the state that it's in. I think and say, yeah, I've seen the state of it, but I can push the rubbish to one side as I only need the driver's seat. Don't need to take anyone with me. He replies, I've just had to drive it into a ditch to avoid hitting some idiot driving like a twat. I ask what the damage is. He replies, the front has gone. The driver's side wing mirror is hanging by its wire smash. There's no headlights on the left side. He says, I've managed to find someone with a tow bar because it wasn't moving. I said, well, you're a third party. You can claim on the insurance. And he says, no, because I avoided hitting him because I wasn't wearing a seatbelt and didn't want to go through the windscreen. So I drove into the ditch on purpose and he's driven off. So you've written my car off because you chose not to wear a seatbelt. And he says, yeah, basically. He manages to drive it back to mine, and it's not driving terribly because I drive it 2 minutes round the corner to grab the food I need. This is now 9 p.m. When I get back, he says I'm still taking it to work in the morning because I've got no choice, hoping at that time in the morning there won't be many coppers about. He then gets back around 5 p.m., so he takes it to work in the morning.
At this point, like, yeah, he's an a-hole and he's at fault here, but, like, you're a little bit at fault. Like, if so... Fool me once, you know?
We're at fool me thrice territory.
We're at fool me, like,
fool me
fifth.
Yeah.
Fight.
He then gets back around 5 p.m. and states, had to limp the car home. It's really not doing well. I'm sure it's not doing well.
I imagine it wouldn't be.
I get in it to pop to the supermarket for stuff I couldn't get the day before, and it won't even turn over. We try to jumpstart it, but it's not playing ball. Car has passed away. He says you can get about 250 or 300 pounds for it from the scrapyard. I'll call them tomorrow. Oh yeah, a couple of weeks before, he'd asked about scrapping it when it inevitably passed away, and then said, I'll need to use that dosh to get my car back on the road so I can still get to work. My face. I can't even describe the look I gave him. He looks a bit sheepish, and I ask, well, how much do you think it'll cost to get yours sorted? And he says, gotta sort the tires, so probably around 200 pounds. So now here we are, a 4-car family, and none of them currently working. He duly calls the breaker's yard, and when I ask him how they were paying me, he says they're paying it into my account. He'd actually managed to fix his tires the week before, and had said I won't be needing to borrow much. So when the breakers collected the car, I call him and ask if they've sent the money yet. He says, nah, it'll be later this afternoon. I say, well, buzz it over to me when it gets there, yeah? And he says, yeah, no problem. Around 4 p.m., I call and say, have they sent you the dosh yet? His reply, yeah. I say, well, send it over to me then, because I need to do a supermarket delivery since I can't get there now. And he says, how much do you need? I said, all of it. Ah, well, I've had to use some of it in the car. I asked, how much did you use? And he replies, about 200 pounds. I gasp and yell his name in an incredulous way. He says, well, I did say I'd need to borrow about 200 pounds, and then proceeded to tell me he spent about 500 pounds that week trying to get it sorted, presuming, I imagine, that I'll feel sorry for him. I reminded him of what he'd said previously about having had the tires done, significantly reducing the amount he'd need to borrow. He said, oh yeah, sorry. I demand he sends the remaining $40, 40 pounds over, and tell him I'll borrow the rest from my sister. I didn't mention at this point that we're also going to be spending 500 pounds fixing our other car. This was 5 nights ago. Our car is still in the garage, and there's a crack in some pipe that needs replacing. It's going to cost us 500 pounds, which I've managed to hold back since we've been paid hubby's monthly salary. But it's left us understandably tight this month, what with hubby needing to use public transportation to work too. Thankfully, he works 24 to 48 hour shifts, which usually saves us petrol since he's only driving there and back once or twice a week. We've given the top bunk to the nephew, and the 9 and 6-year-old are top entailing in my daughter's single room.
No.
So all 3 older boys are sharing together.
No.
This is, again, where I think you're exactly right. And now I will even go so far as, like, again, I'm trying to be sympathetic to OP.
Yeah.
But, like, that's not fair to your kids.
No, it's not fair to your kids. Your kids, one, you said you're trying to raise them in a certain way. And already you are effectively not at fault, but like you are responsible for them not being raised that way when he's around, influencing them in another way. And then also you are making them share much smaller quarters because the nephew gets to stay and take advantage and eat the food that, more than inconveniences the whole family.
Since nephew declared that the younger lads can have the sofas so they can share the bed, we've had to have another chat about our values, which began with the line, absolutely not, you're having a laugh. Since then, they've been staying weekends at her dad. They still expect to be fed when they arrive here with no warning, as he generally doesn't sleep here more than 3 or 4 nights a week. Last night, I didn't cook enough shepherd's pie, as we didn't have enough potatoes or meat, 454 grams in the portion of lamb mince. I've managed to make it stretch by finding a few older potatoes in the pantry, making a new batch of macs, and stretch the meat sauce by adding another carrot stick of celery and putting more water in and some gravy granules. I had to make this extra mash while eating mine because they'd disappeared at 6 p.m. when I was cooking, so I didn't actually know they'd be eating with us. When they arrived back and declared they were starving, I had to try and make it stretch for the 7 of us. I think I did pretty well. They even had leftovers, which I was able to give to the dog. I asked last night when he gets paid, and he says, Friday, why? I reply, because we're skint, mate, and you owe us quite a lot. He goes, oh yeah, the 200 pounds. And I said, and the rest you've had over the last couple of weeks. And I had to literally go through my bank account on my phone to add up the totals. He's conveniently forgotten the small bits he's borrowed, which totals 238 pounds, which does not include the 190 for the impound fee from a few weeks before. He keeps forgetting about that too, since I told him I'd borrowed it from my sister. He thinks he owes her, even though I've paid her back. I'm getting seriously fed up. My sister arrived unannounced on Thursday and offered them her house to live in.
Yeah, honestly, please.
Yeah, since she's paying rent on it, but living with her man in his place mostly, and they're buying another house together. The girlfriend has jumped at the offer, as it'll cost them just under £1,000 a month, including council tax and bills, which is a freaking steal for a 2-bedroom house in that area. He's complaining about how much it's going to cost him, even though he earns 20 to 25 pounds per hour. But I've reminded him what he should be paying for that bargain. So they'll be moving out in a couple of weeks.
Thank goodness.
I cannot wait because we have no savings left and not having a living room is causing a few issues. By the way, you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app and search OK Storytime. Feel like a right mug, but he declared to me when we got back in touch that he always pays his debts back. He owes me close to 500 pounds now. He wrote my car off and is paying and contributing nothing apart from the 50 pounds he gave me 2 weeks ago. I don't know how to even broach the subject, to be honest, but I need him to contribute from this week going forward since all our money is going on getting our car fixed before the 17th. My dad is coming from Australia to see us all and has booked a cottage for us to stay in Scotland and will be needing to drive 10 hours to get there. We have to use our car as it's a 7-seater and we're going for 1 week. We can't afford to hire one, plus there's 6 of us. Any advice appreciated. Oh my God, that's the update.